Hello, hello. How are you all the viewers of Humanist TV Africa? We are meeting again on another version of Hot Eyes Show today. And today we have another interesting topic, another interesting show. We have so many students, so many children in schools, primary and secondary. Majority of them, if you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to be in general? Sometimes they find it difficult to answer such a question. But Humanist TV Africa is here to equip you with such knowledge. So for you not to miss such knowledge, subscribe to us on YouTube or on Facebook at Humanist TV Africa as it is appearing on the screen, so that whenever we are having any program, you won't miss it. I trust you. If you take at least 30 minutes every day to check our pages, you'll find we'll be having an interesting program for you. Though this Hot Eyes Show, you will have it only on Sunday. Today, I have a guest in the studio, a human resources consultant with the name Tauya Chinama. But it will be best for her to introduce herself the best way she wants to be known. And Madam Tauya.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me this platform. My name is Tauya Chinama. I am the Human Resources Director of Etiquette HR Consultants, a new company which was established in March 2023. Thank you very much for giving me this platform. I welcome you all. We are HR people. We are there to service you guys and to make sure that people are equipped with the right knowledge, are given the right knowledge to do whatever they want to do in life. What we do is we look at the primary facts, issues. We also look at secondary issues to say what is it that we can do from an HR point of view so that we help you to become a better person in life. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. You are an HR expert, and some of the things you do, you said, is career guidance. And it's a pity that we don't have a particular subject in the Zimbabwean education system which actually concentrates only on career guidance. And let us start maybe by defining, what do you mean when you say a career guidance in HR terms?
Okay, career guidance is considered to be sole responsibility of the specialist. Career guidance is giving someone the direction that they need for them to move forward. It's looking at your career to say, in terms, when you leave school, what is it that you want to do? What are the qualifications that you have? What are the subjects that you have studied? And what is the industry saying? in terms of your qualifications. So these are the issues that we look at. We then guide you to say what is it that you should do, so that at least you are not, you don't take a course that you end up saying, why did I choose to do this? Because probably some of you guys might think, maybe one day I want to be a doctor. But if you know what involves to be a doctor, because you need to have the patience, you need to look at the human in aspects, and at the same time, will you be able to stand on that? Will you be able to do that? This is what we consider. We have to look at your qualifications. We have to look at your the skills that you are likely to get. And at the same time, what I've observed is normally when you have parents, some children will tend to take their parents' portfolios. But at the end of the day, let's not ask our children to do the same. Maybe they have something different. I can give an example, like for myself. My husband is a lawyer, but I don't think my kids would want to do the same. And at the same time, I'm also an HR practitioner. When I look at my kids, they just don't feel like doing that. But maybe one of them said she wants to be a psychologist, and which is in line with what I do. But at the end of the day, let's not force them. Let's look at them as they are, and then ask them what is important that they need to do. We need to engage them from an HR point of view. We don't just we don't just say to them, do this because you are my daughter. We don't impose such. We ask them, we engage them, we discuss these issues to say, if you want to do A, B, C, D, look, these are the issues. And we also go an extra mile and research on whatever our children wants to do. We don't just say to them, no, do this because of, I have done it before. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution. You said parents should actually engage their children on what they expect to do. In other words, they have to avail knowledge and information about a particular profession, and they shouldn't actually force their daughters and sons to move in their footsteps. For example, as you said, probably the father was a lawyer, so he should not just say, "Oh, I think my father was a lawyer, I have to be a lawyer too." And I think it's something which is very, very important, but I don't know how best to implement that, because ideally in the African setup, it's very, very, very unexpected probably to go against the profession of your parents, especially if they actually want you to follow their profession already. For example, I'm just taking back, probably even before colonization, whatever. I think children used to take the professions of their fathers or their mothers. For example, if the father is well known of hunting, it is likely that probably the child is going to be a hunter. So this is something which is somehow wired in people. Then comes the issue of probably respecting the right of choice for the student, respecting the right to explore. As an HR company, have you ever tried to open up and discuss with parents, or do we have some plans to do this, probably with the responsible authorities in the Ministry of Education, probably with the responsible authorities in different churches and different clubs in different regions and in different places where parents are meeting? Because I think career guidance becomes a parenting issue where the parent, the teacher, and the society plays a role on one's choice of a particular career. Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, certainly. Thank you very much for bringing that. It's very important. We look at career guidance, right? And it involves so many parties. But what we need is to engage all these parties and help us to come up with maybe a life skill guidance, so that in the future, when we have such programs, we engage the society, we engage the ministries so that they help us. Because in schools, I don't think they talk about it that much. But what I know is when I was at primary school, they used to say to us, when you grow up, what is it that you want to do? From there, you'll be able to know that this child would want to do A, B, C, D. But maybe after that, then that's when you realize that after that, people don't really take much information about it. They then leave you. And then probably if you want to be an artist and probably your parents are not interested in that, they'll say, this is not a good profession. But when you look at it, artists, these people have got money and they are rich, and you can say that. And when you tell your child, you might say to your child, no, this is not the profession that I want you to do. But it's actually a good profession at the end of the day, because as an artist, you are able to do so many things. You can also be a writer, you can also be a publisher, you can also do a lot of things, but maybe because it's the myth, it's the beliefs that we have that if you are this person, you're not able to do A, B, C, D. But these are the things that we should do. And at the same time, I'm also appealing to the ministry that to give us the platform to help these kids, especially those disadvantaged children. They will not be able to penetrate into the market. To say probably if they are looking for a job, it's not easy for them. But we also need to teach them how to do how to carry out interviews, how to do job search and all that. And then on my platform, I've also engaged parents to say, how best can we work out? Because right now in Zimbabwe, it's very difficult to get employment, but maybe we need to teach our children to be entrepreneurs, the life skills. And if you have a skill at the end of that, and probably if you're someone that can do something, you are able to bake cakes, you continue living. Because I know for certain that I've got this girl who came to my inbox and she says she did a course 5 years ago. Up to now, she has not managed to get a job. And it's very difficult. The job market is very difficult. And at the end of the day, let's train our children to have skills apart from getting a job only, so that at least they are not there just seated and waiting for a job. It is frustrating, especially for our children. They're having challenges after leaving college, after studying 4 years. And the parents out there will be looking forward to say, if it's better, let her work, and maybe probably they will have sold their cows to take you to schools, and there's no return on investment. So what we need to do going forward, I'm looking at it to say, let's help our children to have life skills, so that at least we know that even after graduation, they've got something going on. So I think if we have more of those, and at the same time, when we go to schools, we also need to engage schools to say, look, these are the kids that we have. They're doing their A-levels. What is it that we should equip them with, so that at least they are able to go out there and be the people that we need? Because at the end of the day, from an HR point of view, sometimes you're given graduates from the university and you realize that they are maybe when they did their training, they were not really equipped. I think going forward, let's give knowledge to our children. We need to mentor them. And with myself, when I was growing up, I didn't like agriculture. It was not really my piece of cake, but I ended up being there, and I realized that there's money out there. But maybe when we tell our children, what is it that we are saying? But look at it, Zimbabwe used to be the breadbasket of Africa. And at the end of the day, we need to equip our children and go back to where we were in the first instance, so that at least they do these trainings. They're able to have even where you stay, you can start farming something. You must also have, you can also have tomatoes, vegetables, and start selling that. Don't just sit and say, no, I cannot do A, B, C, D. And what I'm happy about, of course, we might be going to school to graduate and everything, but do a skill, which when you are not, when you're out there, you'll know you'll have done something. And at the same time, you bring food on your table. You just don't wait for your degree only. Let's teach our children also skills so that they are better equipped out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if I was listening to you so carefully, in other words, you said career guidance shouldn't be about only looking for jobs. It should also be about giving skills to our children so that even without being employed by someone, they can self-employ themselves and they can employ others too. And I think the problem is most of the time in our third world countries is with implementation or what we call probably polarization. For example, here in Zimbabwe, they have what they call Education 5.0, where they say universities should serve the following purposes: research, community service, teaching. These were traditional roles of the education in Zimbabwe. These things. Then they added other two to make it 5.0. That is innovation and industrialization. So probably what you're actually doing is in tandem with the government policy on education 5.0. So I think it would be very good if you engage them and they would find actually a lot of sense in whatever you're saying. And whenever we discuss issues of education with different guests on different platforms, I normally tell people with a straight face, unashamedly, that one of the best education ministers Zimbabwe ever had was Dr. Lazarus Ekora, who was the minister from 2013 up to somewhere 2017, who brought what we call the new curriculum in the Zimbabwean education. I know many people, they were against that curriculum, but that curriculum was based on trying to instill skills which are in tandem with our times. And I think it was an implementation of a commission which was led by a Professor Kaifas Dramasanga. In Zimbabwe, the Dramasanga Commission was a buzzword at some time when, after colonization, Zimbabwe had to inquire into how to improve the education system, because the education system which was left by the British people who colonized Zimbabwe before was there just to produce a laborer, was not there to produce a singer. And I think that commission, which was led by Professor Dramasanga, made a number of recommendations. But I think the problem which probably the ministry made, their idea was very noble, but probably there were less resources. For example, you can't talk of introducing computers in deep rural areas where they don't have electricity. So you see, you have all these brilliant ideas, but there are no resources. As an HR company, I once perused through your website. I saw that you offer also soft loans for fees. I think in future, don't you think it would be best even to venture into developing marginalized schools, probably partnering with certain international partners or local partners, maybe to digitalize those schools so that the information can be easily available to students who are in primary and secondary education, so that they don't have to struggle after probably finishing university thinking, what can I do? Instead of knowing what they want to do while they're still in secondary school. What's your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much. Yes, I am happy with what we have alluded to. I'm also happy with what Dr. Lokora introduced, the color issue. But the issue was on the fact that when I look at it, most parents were assisting their children. That's my observation. But look at somebody who is in the rural areas. How then will they map the way forward? And probably there is no computers, etc. And they also have a challenge. But what is important is I'm happy because look, they introduced something where one should have a skill at the end of the day, because in everything that we do, a skill is important. Even today, if you wake up being in UK, in any way, in any country, if you have a skill, I know you'll not go wrong. And it is very important. But maybe it's the way we implement some of the issues. But probably we need to dig deep down to say to ourselves, if we continue with this, what is it that we need to do? How best can we work it out? Can we, like, for example, ask our children at school to say, if you're interested in music, are you able to sing like now? So that at least from where they are, they'll be able to pick that so and so is able to do A, B, C, D. But then when they go home there, we don't know who is doing their things. And at the end of the day, probably these kids, some people help them, and it's not from them. So what we are trying to do is probably help each and everyone so that they realize what their skills are, and at the end of the day, do what is right. Because as a nation, we need to brace up for change. I know long back when I went to school, we were just studying 2 subjects. It was English and maths. And from there, like you said, we were taught maybe just to go and work, and this is what we were doing. But here, we are given the platform, we are given the opportunity to become an entrepreneur, to employ other people. What is it that we want as Zimbabweans? So that at least going forward, we do things better. And looking at it, I know that our literacy rate was very high. And at the same time, now it's going down. We also need to look at issues that are causing that. Yes, maybe it could be a problem of our teachers and how they're seeing these things. But at the end of the day, when you look for a job, like, for example, a nurse, you need to have a passion for it. And if you want to become a soldier, we need to let people know what is involved, so that 6 months down the line, you don't leave that job that you have said, I want. And if you want to be a teacher, what is it that you want to do? You want to impart skills to these children. I know sometimes the salary issue can be an aspect, but at the end of the day, you say to yourself, if I'm teaching my daughter, what will I have done? What is it that I want for my children and for our nation, so that we build better children. We build children that will continue running the country, and at the same time, we need to mentor these children. We need to upgrade everything that they do, so that at least we have a better economy. And looking at it, I know in our country, yes, things have not been rosy, but in the end of the day, let's look at positive issues to say, what is it that we can do? And at the end of the day, I just came up with this, and I said to myself, look, in a way, somehow we need to give some people soft loans, because you find there are people out there with the knowledge, but they don't have the money to do what they're supposed to do. And you really feel sorry for them to say, I wish I could help. I wish I could offer employment. And at the same time, I'm also helping Young Men Christian Association organization to say, let's empower this youth. It's not a men organization. It's also for a girl child. We need both people to join those organizations. Yes, it starts from voluntary, because some people do not want to volunteer to do something. But what we are saying is, this is where you also get the knowledge. This is where they will equip you and become a better person. Because some things, yes, I know, someone will say, I'm driven to do this because of money. But sometimes it's not always about money. It's about having a passion for something. And once you do that, you'll be able to do better in life. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for that sharing. And in other words, they are trying to say, let us teach our children what we have learned when we are old already, so that they will know it while they're still young. And it also guarantees us a better future, because this country has to go on. And you mentioned the fact that, yes, things are not that all country Zimbabwe, but we should actually concentrate on the positive, because probably keep on mourning and crying, saying things are not well, is not going to help, but it's going to waste our. Then there is an issue which I think probably is very, very important when it comes to career guidance. Probably listening to voice around you. I'll take, for example, myself. Um, Whenever I meet anyone in the streets, I talk to someone. Some people they tell me that you can make a good teacher, you can make a good educator. Of course, I'm a teacher by profession. I'm an educator by profession. So probably they will be seeing whatever I'm already doing. But I actually ventured into education after so many people told me that I am a good educator. Graduated with it. And some they say probably you can make a good presenter probably on TV. Wow, that is what I'm doing. Some they say you can make a good comedian. I don't know how true it is because they say sometimes I just throw some interesting lies. Some they say oh you can make a good presenter, you can make it. But all those things which are being mentioned by people, somehow I have interest in those things. Some they say you can make a good lawyer. Then guess what? I'm slowly bowing to that pressure. Probably in a year or so, you might hear Tauya is studying law. So, in your own opinion, when it comes to career guidance, how important is the voice of the people around you? Probably people who are looking at you from a distance, people who are looking certain qualities in you where they think that you fit somewhere. So how can someone integrate that voice of the people around him when it comes to career guidance? Since we said career guidance involves a number of people, it involves the teachers, involves the parents, involves yourself, involves even your peers.
Thank you very much. What I can say is that when it comes to career guidance, you say to yourself, what is important to me? What are the subjects that I've done at school? And at the end of the day, what is it that I want? You also need to consider issues of the market to say, what is the market saying about me? In fact, what I'm saying is, how much am I going to get if I'm to do this course? Or if I'm to become, for example, if you want to become a lawyer, you're saying to yourself, what is it in it for me? And will I be able to get a job? And what is the job market like? Because sometimes you do to say, and then you're stuck with your receptionist or whatever. So now say to yourself, because of this peer pressure, what is it that I'm good at? What is it that I should do? So that at least going forward, I'm good at it. And even if I'm given a job, I know in my 3 months probation, I'll be able to excel because I've researched on this. I have the skills, I have the know-how, and I know how to do it better. Because yes, people might tell you that you're a presenter, but if you don't have what it takes, then definitely your plans will be shattered. And at the same time, I always say to myself, at the end of the day, people make the wrong choices. I remember my daughter when she wanted to enroll for university. She said to me, Mom, I would want to be a writer, film actor or something. Then I realized, no, she had not put much to it. And then she said, no. Later on, can I then do social studies? Then I said, look, what is it that you really want? And then she says, no, let me do psychology. So in other words, you're saying to yourself, look, at the end of the day, you need to train these kids and say to them, what is it best that you can do? And they always emulate other people, but it's not like that. You have to do what you think is right for you. And for you to stand up now, because of the peer pressure and parents and whatever, you say to yourself, Mom, look, this is the subject that I've chosen, this is the course that I want to do, and the reason why I want to do it is A, B, C, D, and probably it's being offered at these universities. Even if it is outside, I've done the research, and these are the requirements that they need. And at the same time, for me to be there, the university is like this, it doesn't have accommodation, and at the end of the day, I need to find accommodation in a nearby, at that university, or probably nearby place. So you need to look at certain issues. You just don't do something because A, B, C, D has said, and at the same time, they've given you pressure. No, do what is right. That's why I said in HR, we talk about engagement, because we also engage our employers, our employees. We say to them, look, you have done A, B, C, D. Let's find a way. Let's look at what is best. So what is important is your self-actualization at the end of the day. That's my thinking, and at the same time, that is what is important. Whatever anyone says, have some backup points. Maybe you might say, you better have said A, B, C, D from an HR point of view, but I want A, B, C, D. But if you want that, to me, you have to come with facts. Why you want it, and why do you want to enroll in that thing that you have said you want to do? So at the end of the day, do what you feel is right, and what is important is self-actualization. Thank you. I think, well, might be having a network challenge here. But anyway, to all those that were listening, I'd like to thank you all. And at the same time, let's do what is right. Let's think of the career that we want our children to embark on. And myself, I started as a secretary, and at the end of the day, I moved along the ranks, and it's not easy. Of course, sometimes you face obstacles in companies, but what you need to do is to enjoy and make the best for everything. I'm so happy to be given this platform, and I'm also appealing to the ministry to introduce issues of career guidance and to also have some career fairs so that going forward, we'll be able to map the best way forward. Thank you, Tauya. Welcome back.
Well, thank you very much. You mentioned something to do with the self-actualization. You are into psychology. I think we're actually going to Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. That alone gave me another insight. I know we are in the capitalistic world where money matters, where people, they chase money. What about the mental wellness of people when it comes to career choices? You know, I think it's the best to do a career which gives you happiness. Because there are certain careers with a lot of money probably, but with less happiness. Then there are certain careers with less money, but with more happiness. Now we are talking of self-actualization. How someone can reach self-actualization? But I'm sure, yes, let us not hide from the truth. We actually need money to live. But it's all about money when career guidance. Is it all about man, or we have to look into other things like the mental wellness of the person when choosing a particular career?
Okay, maybe I can say, looking at it, the issue here is your mental health matters, and peace is important in everything that you do. Of course, money is an aspect, and everyone needs it. But the how part, this is where I'm saying, at the end of the day, you need a skill. Of course, you might be working as a secretary or whatever, but look at other issues that you can do. Are you able to bake? Are you able to do anything else apart from being at work? And you know, you should also be able to work on Saturday and Sunday. Don't just say that I work Monday to Friday, but disclose such information so that you are not caught wanting. But where I'm coming from is do what you feel is good for you. Yes, we are there to make money, but at the end of the day, let's look at the job scale to say to ourselves, if I'm to do this, what is in it for me? And do I have passion for it? Right now, when you look at it, there are so many things that are happening. And you say to yourself, so many kids do not have much to do. The issue of drug abuse, the issue of mental health, all those things really, they are at an alarming rate. I remember listening to the radio the other day. This girl was saying, my boyfriend used to give me some drugs, and that's how I was enrolled. And I was saying to myself, so now if it was my child doing that, what would it be? How best can we help these kids so that they stop some of these things? What can we do? Some activities to keep them busy. How are we going to map the best way forward? Can we go to schools and start searching? What is it that we should do? You know, it's very difficult. It is a difficult situation that we are in. And when we look at us, look back when we were growing up, our parents were really on us, and they would say, you have to do A, B, C, D. And once you're given that I, you know that whatever you're doing is wrong. But with children of nowadays, they don't care. They just say to yourself, of course, whatever you're saying, then what? And what are you going to do to me? You know, that kind of attitude. And you find it is very difficult. Let's mold them while they're young. Let's go back to oneness. Where I'm coming from is we used to eat food together with our children. We used to talk. We used to do all this. You know, for example, if you are in my position, probably you've got 3 children. And at the end of the day, you tell them to share something in a plate. They'll say, this one is like this one is like that. But when we were growing up, and I know my family, we are 10, but I've lost 4 siblings, but we are now 6. But we used to eat in one plate, imagine. So what I'm saying is, let's do what is right. Let's teach our children the right things, the right attitude. And attitude matters. And when you're looking for someone, you look at their attitude to say, will I be able to send them to do anything? Their character, what is it that they can do? So there are so many things that one has to observe from a distance, because surely you cannot bring in someone to have a problem at your organization, somebody that can be toxic. But I know out there's some organization that because of what you do, people might think otherwise, but probably you might not be toxic, but get to know the person and understand from your HR point of view. Whatever anyone says, don't take that. Look at the person and understand that person better, because some people out there are out to reduce somebody. They are not happy because you're growing. So at the end of the day, do what is right. Let's teach our children what is the best. And I know money is important, but let's do what is right, because at the end of the day, you end up doing things that are not necessary because they're looking for money. But invest in the right things. You know, if you do that, definitely you'll not go wrong. But if you invest in the wrong things, then you will have a challenge. And I know for a fact, when you look at Indians, you look at whites, you look at other people, they invest in the right things. And what they do is they bring us to work for them because we've got the knowledge, and they use us. But what we are supposed to do is whatever money we have to invest so that at least they also work for us. That's my thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In other words, I'm listening to your sharing. In other words, you are saying charity begins at home. We are saying career guidance should actually start in the family. The way you are being brought up shapes how you choose your career and shapes how you behave when you are at a particular job. So, yeah, it's very, very important. You mentioned the issue of family. Earlier on, we mentioned something to do with the new curriculum, the Zimbabwe new curriculum, where we're talking of color, etc., etc. Maybe for the sake of our viewers who might not know what we mean by color, we don't mean color as colors of the Zimbabwean flag behind me, but we mean color just means continuous assessment learners area. sort of like mini dissertations of 2 to 3 pages where students will be taught how to have research skills. Those are colors. And I think many parents don't know what colors are. And unfortunately, certain individuals in our societies have been commercializing those colors. As we said, money is not everything, but people that commercializing it, doing colors, giving parents, etc., etc. Then there is another subject which was so of interest when the new curriculum in Zimbabwe was introduced, and I think the subject is Fareme, family and family moral and religious education, because the new curriculum was actually encouraging students to have a tolerant mind, not to promote one religion at the expense of the other, which means it was trying to say respect every person, regardless of their moral background, regardless of their religious views, regardless of their worldview. My question to you, as an HR person, what role does religion play when it comes to career guidance? What, especially in the family setup, what role does religion or culture play when it comes to career guidance in the family setup? Because normally our religious views or cultural views, we don't get them from schools or somewhere else. We get them from the families. So a person from a Christian family is likely to be Christian. A family from a Jewish family is likely to be Jewish. A family from Buddhist family is likely to be Buddhist. A person from a non-religious family is likely to be non-religious. Yes, there are instances where a person can come from a Christian family and be a non-religious person, or a person come from a Jewish family and be a Christian, or a person coming from a Buddhist family and be a Taoist or whatsoever. Yeah, there are situations like that. So, but my question is, what role does religion play when it comes to career guidance in the family setup?
Thank you very much. Religion plays an important role in career guidance because there are some religious people that feel that a certain type of job that one is likely to take might not go hand in hand with their culture. And at the same time, some may even consider to say, if you're working for a certain type, if you're doing a certain type of job, you should work certain hours, certain days. I know of an issue that I was reading on the HR group where somebody was not able to attend to work because they belong to a certain church which they are not allowed to work on Saturday. And these are the issues that we also need. They are from Seventh-day Adventists. And these are the issues that we need to consider. When you're coming up with your contract, you say to yourself, look, we work on Saturday, and if that person is able to do it, then that's okay. Even during your interview, I know it's difficult to ask about religious, but at the end of the day, is you want your work to be done. Imagine if something comes up on Saturday and this person is not able to take this job. What is your thinking? What then will be the outcome? We are not saying that we will not employ people from the seventh day, but we are saying everyone should be
All right. She was talking about people who happen to have conflict of interest when it comes to their place of work. For example, she actually mentioned the issue of the Seventh-day people. So I think from a family setup point of view, if you feel that probably your cultural background, your worldview, your religious views probably doesn't align with a particular profession, I think you have to deal with it as early as possible. And she was also mentioning the issue of people should be honest enough could tell that me, because I'm so and so, I can't do this. For example, I'm sure in a public place, people who are non-religious should not be forced to attend probably prayers or word of peace, because it's something which is probably funded by taxpayers' money, probably let us say in a public school. So probably when a person is employed in such a setup, the person has to be clear enough so that people they know. And all this builds around the issue of career guidance. And 2 days ago, personally, I had a meeting, a virtual meeting with a renowned academician in Canada. I wouldn't say the name of the person because I didn't ask the new person to mention about his name online on TV. So I want to preserve his identity. He actually told me that he has been fired from 4 different universities in his country, that is in Canada, for being openly non-religious. So I think as our children, as our students are growing up, they have to take into consideration the issue of their religious views, the issue of their culture, the issue of their world views, so that probably they will try by all means to work in the institutions where they can flourish, in the institutions where their ideas, where their views are respected, and where they are respected regardless of their religious views. So that was all we had for you on this show. It's unfortunately, I hope my guest will make it to come back, and I think maybe my producer, who is behind the scene, Mr. Dennis, will actually manage to bring her back. If she couldn't manage to bring her back, I'm sure we have learned a lot. I'm sure we have a lot of takeaways from this program. I'm sure now you can guide your children, you can guide your students well when it comes to career guidance, when it comes to the profession they're going to choose. And we talked also of self-actualization. Don't just push your students or your children to consider man. Of course, sometimes you can consider man and don't consider happiness. Many people, we are losing many people because of mental health issues. So it is very important also to consider to take a career which is somehow your hobby, where you say you can still enjoy your job, you can still enjoy what you are doing, even if you are not well remunerated. Because sometimes if you go into a particular profession for benefits such as money, such as finance, when you are not well remunerated, you will be so stressed, you get so many of mental health issues. It's a pity when you talk of the word mental health issues in the third world countries, it is mistaken as being mentally disturbed. But having unexplainable anxiety, having unexplainable depression is also an issue of mental health. Sometimes feeling that someone is constantly torturing you is mental health issue. Having stress, having depression, whatever, it's a mental health issue. So some people they think that if you tell them that you have a mental health issue, they think that you are saying they're mentally disturbed. So I think it's high time all this has to be included into the country. And I'm sure as we speak in so many Zimbabwean schools, career guidance and counseling is not an examinable subject in secondary schools. They don't write exam around that, which means it's taken as a side subject just to waste some time, just to occupy some time, probably after lunch, where majority of teachers are exhausted and they would want to go into serious business. So just just taking it aside, but it's so vitally important that it should be part and parcel of the core curricula of the country. And as my guest, Beata Nyamayaro, was proposing that should actually engage responsible authorities, such as the Ministry of Education, to consider taking into consideration issues of career guidance. So I think it's something which we can learn from, and I'm sure some of you guys, let us keep on engaging. You can engage us even after this show, either on Beata Nyamayaro's pages, because this very show is also being beamed live on Beata Nyamayaro LinkedIn. It's also beamed live on her Facebook profile, the same on my Facebook profile, on another page which I'm running to, and also it's also live on Humanist TV Africa page, also live on Humanist TV Africa YouTube page. So you have so many platforms where to engage this show, and I'm sure the fellow panelists from different countries are also running this live. We have studios as Humanist TV Africa in Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Uganda, Zambia, UK, United States. All over there, we have studios. So please, as we conclude this program, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube and Facebook page. Go and subscribe. If you are enjoying our shows, tell your friends, tell your relatives, tell your peers to subscribe. And if you are in Zimbabwe or anywhere else in the world, if you want to feature on Hot Eyes Show, just write to us on info@humanisttvafrica.com or to the WhatsApp number which is appearing on the screen, +2547473567677. Then I'll engage you. We discuss how best can we discuss the topic you want us to discuss. We have an engagement because on Hot Eyes Show, we share knowledge. Whatever you are going to do with the information we give you, it's up to you. You decide to take it, decide not to take it, you decide to ignore it, you decide to say whatever, but we are here to inform you. We are here to help you. As the motto of our TV station, reaching out to humanity, we are reaching to you because you matter to us. You matter to us. We want to see you as a holistic person, a well-being. We don't want to see you being cheated. We don't want to see you getting into different problems. So we are reaching out to humanity to give humanity a better future, to give humanity a better today, to give humanity a better appreciation of history and learning from that history. Yes, we can't erase the bad part of our history, but let us learn from that history and go forward. And let us learn how best go forward. And until we meet next Sunday on our Hot Eyes show, I wish you well. Enjoy your day. To some, it might be morning, to some afternoon, to some evening, depending with your location on the globe. So enjoy, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting us. Keep on supporting us. Keep on telling your friends to support us. It was a lovely show. Yes, my guests, and you who are watching us live, and those who are going to watch us later on, because I know you will watch this video even in the next 100 years. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I want to thank also my producer, Dennis. Thank you very much. People don't see you, but you did a lot of work. You do a lot of work for us to host these shows. You are having sleepless nights. You thank you very much. It's unfortunate you are always behind the scene, and I will always share whenever people say your show was great. I will always say they should also say thank you to Dennis, who is also my all-weather producer. Thank you very much.